You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today my special guest is Dr. Cheryl MacLeod. Dr. MacLeod is a very accomplished registered psychologist. She's been helping children, adolescents, and their families over the past 20 years. It is my pleasure to have Dr. Cheryl MacLeod on the show today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Gary. I'm really thrilled to be here. But I am going to make a small correction. I worked really hard for all those degrees of mine, and it's actually Dr. Cheryl Gilbert MacLeod.
Okay.
So, yeah, the Gilbert's just as important. That's my maiden name, and that one, I got my master's with that name. So we squished them all together.
Well, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So, Dr. Gilbert MacLeod, I gave a quick overview of your success. Can you fill in the details of what your business is all about, who you are, who you serve, and how long you've been doing this for?
Okay. So I am one of the owners of a company called the Family Psychology Place. So we are mostly centered in Calgary. We have a south location and a north location. And we are across the age span kind of psychology clinic that does a lot of different things. I have been a psychologist since I did my residency in 1998. So I've been doing this for a very long time. It's been over 25 years now. Became a fully registered psychologist. I think it was trying to remember. If I remember correctly, I actually did my final oral defense when I was like 7.5 months pregnant. So 2001, I guess, was maybe when I got fully registered. And since that time, I've done a variety of different things. I've worked in tertiary healthcare centers. So I'm actually from Nova Scotia. The accent doesn't come out when I talk unless I've maybe had a drink or two. But so I worked at the IWK back in Nova Scotia for many years. And then we moved to Calgary back in 2008. We packed up the family, moved for my husband and his work, and worked at the Alberta Children's Hospital for about a year or so. And then went into private practice. So the majority of my career now has been in private practice. And I started out at the Family Psychology Place, which was started in 2008 and then kind of grew from probably 2009 when I joined it. And since that time, we've gone through lots of different kind of iterations. We started out quite small. There was 2, then there was 3. Sometimes we get up to about 25, 26 of us. And it's, I have to say, it's a really nice place to work. And it's an incredibly rewarding job. Love my job, Gary. Love my job.
So tell me more. Like, what do you love about it?
I love coming to work and knowing that I have colleagues that have a passion for high quality care, that have a passion for collaboration, that love to help each other and to learn. They love to laugh. This is a challenging job. It can be a very emotional job. We hear lots of things that can be very disturbing. We give diagnoses that can be challenging for families to hear. And so having a job where you walk in the doors and everyone is, there's smiles and there's laughs and you enjoy being with them and you can sit on someone's couch and say, I need 5 minutes. It really makes this job easier to do. And I can't think of a single person that I work with that wouldn't come sit on my couch and say, I need you. Or I wouldn't go sit on their couch and say, help me through this. Whether it's I heard a funny joke, or I just want to tell you that my kid just aced a test, or my kid failed a test, or then talking through a professional case, right? Like where
Yeah.
the brains behind having multiple people to conceptualize a case and talk through it. Like even this morning, my business partner and dear friend was like, okay, what do you think about this as the conceptualization? And we chatted through it. We both pulled up our manuals and I'm like, well, have you thought about this? And I'm like, it's so cool to be able to
Hmm.
work in a place where you can have that sense of genuine like and respect and support, while also knowing you have people who know what they're talking about and
Right.
want to work together to present a very positive experience for the people who walk through our doors.
Nice, nice. So it's really collaborative
Mhm.
team type environment where you're uplifting each other.
Yeah, that's a really great way of describing it. Yeah. So, like that collaborative, caring, like centered, family centered care is what we really kind of value.
Right,
But we
right,
also make sure that as a team, we're doing the same thing, right? That
right,
we want to be able to, um, I can't make you happy, but I can definitely give you a nice place to come to work.
right, right, right. And currently, how many people are part of your group there?
So we have about 25 clinicians. So we
Yep,
have social workers as well as psychologists.
yep.
We have master's level psychologists and PhD level psychologists. We have um, a really, really fabulous office manager who kind of helps the day-to-day running of things. We have lovely admin staff, the people who answer the phone and, help families and individuals find the clinician that's going to help them with
Hmm.
what they're presenting with, because we don't do a lot of jack of all trades kind of
Okay.
therapy where we all have things that we're very, like, we have pockets of expertise and we use those pockets, and each of us kind of say, this is my main thing that I can do,
Right.
this is what
Yep.
I'm really good at doing.
Yeah.
And then we use each other to kind of bring up our skills when those things happen. Um and so we have, I think it's about 10 administrative staff,
Hmm.
supporting staff, and then spread over the two offices.
I mean, that's pretty explosive growth in my mind, in the psychological field. Like I'm not a expert in there, but like
Yeah.
from a doctor, professional, clinic type of thing, that's quite a number of people in one place, I would say.
Yeah. It, I, yes, not everyone works full time, but I
Yeah.
think that um, we have the ability to be able to. There are very few difficulties. If someone calls, that we don't have somebody who knows how to help you
Okay.
across the age span, right? Like I
Right.
specialize in children and adolescents and kind of young adults. My specialty is actually Tourette's disorder and OCD and anxiety.
Okay.
Um, and so that's the pocket that I tend to see.
Yeah.
Um, but everybody has different things that they like to do. We have like people who are amazing at family work and, navigating that kind of the challenges with adult depression or anxiety, the addictions, the
Hmm.
gender stuff, that the gender um, identity issues and all of those things, this, like all of that. We have people who we want them to be able to be really good at what they do. And so
Right.
we kind
Right.
of support that growth. But yeah, it is probably one of the larger ones
Yeah.
in Alberta. There are a couple of other ones that are good too, and I that are big, like this size.
Right.
Um, Being the size that we are allows for that, a little bit more of that specialization, as
Right.
well as the collaboration that we can do.
Right.
Um, yeah,
What
and
do you think really kind of sets you apart from the competition? Like what comes easy to you that others might find challenging?
I think that the thing that probably sets us apart is that because we have more clinicians,
Mm-hmm.
you there is that support. This can be a very, very lonely job.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, you come into the office, you have your family that you see or your client that you see, you do your notes, and then you see your next one, and then you see your next one, and
Right.
if there's only a couple of you working in the office, you may not have that crossover.
Okay.
Whereas because we work different days, we work at different start times. There's usually somebody's door is usually always open to be
Mm-hmm.
able to go and talk.
Okay.
Um, I think there's that's probably one of the bigger things that sets us apart is just the number, like that availability with that talking back and forth. But I think that lots of clinics are trying to do that because we recognize as psychologists and as social workers and working in a mental health field that that is a really important part of self-care. You have to have that framework. Um, and, you know, I think, you know, yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think the other thing that I think the family psychology place really stresses is training. Um, I have a passion for supervision and mentorship,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I love those conversations. I love having someone come to me with a case conceptualization problem or reading somebody's report and them asking for feedback on it. Or, um, I'm a ferocious reader. I read a ton of things and I love um, sharing the books that I read and the skills that I keep learning. But then I love getting that back. Like even today, I was doing supervision with one of our provisionals, and she said she's been talking about how emotions are information, not instructions. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But had like never heard it before. And so I think that because that collegial conversations and those desire to mentor people and to train people, we have this ability that it keeps those of us who are considered more senior in the field um, have just the opportunity to keep learning from people who are younger,
Right.
right? And I
Right.
think they just come at it from a different perspective, right? Like they're in their 20s or 30s, and I am not in my 20s or 30s. And so, um, how do we, like, just the way they look at things and,
Right. So it
God,
sounds like having that, like the broad range of different professionals there, different age ranges, different specialties, really broadens the depth, for being able to help different people there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
nice.
pretty rare that someone couldn't call the office and find a good fit with
Yeah,
somebody,
right on.
right?
What kind of tips would you or suggestions would you give someone who wants to be more successful, like let's say in the psychological field or in business?
So I think being a psychologist is a fabulous job. I'm sure if I rewinded my life back to when I was, a resident and early starting in my career, I'm not sure I ever would have told you I would be a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't take any courses in being a business owner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I would definitely say that if you are starting this journey, um, take a business course.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot of value, and I'm very lucky. I have three young adult children um, that are like finding their ways through, and I meet a lot of people who are starting their careers and doing things and going and starting the pathway of education and stuff. And I think that I wish a business course had been part of my um, very long academic journey.
Right.
Um, as a psychologist, I think early on, and I actually don't think this just applies to being a psychologist, I think it applies to everybody. Um, Finding somebody who is successful in the field, whether you
Okay.
admire them for the clinical work that they do, the research, because as a psychologist, a lot of us do research. I don't, a lot of people
Hmm.
do. Um, find somebody who seems like they have similar values or similar goals as to what you have, and don't be afraid to ask them for help. I run into a lot of people who will come and want to talk to me, and they want to they've done a master's in a program, or they've done schooling abroad, and a lot of the times I'm like, did you ever think about trying to do this?
Hmm.
And so I think that expertise about how to find it is really, really important, um, because this is it's a challenging field to get into. Like most of the PhD programs take 5 to 10 people in a year and
Hmm.
probably have 50 to 75 applicants,
Wow.
right? So I think you have to find somebody to help guide. And it's like, ask us the questions. We want to help you figure out how to do that. And so I think that's right. And
So like you mentioned, taking business courses and things like
mhm.
that. Like, is that one of your biggest challenges that you've had to overcome, or were there other challenges that you've had to overcome? And then how were you able to turn those into positives?
I definitely think that, like learning how to run a business,
Hmm.
learning the ins and outs of the, you know, don't forget your insurance and paying rent and reading contracts and all of that, those aspects of it. Um, I can't say I think trial by fire is the best way to learn. Um, I so, but I like that's been in all of this, that's been the hardest part, right?
Right.
Um,
Because you're not trained in that.
yeah. And it's a lot harder than was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I
Right.
was very lucky because the original owner of the family psychology place um, is a very astute businesswoman and had a bit probably more of that entrepreneurial streak than I ever did. And
Okay.
so that was always very helpful. And you know, being able to rely on other people and developing a team. And that's where we are now is we're developing this kind like a team of people who really want to, I don't know, can I say man the ship? Is that a saying?
Sure.
But like steer it in the direction. We're all
Yeah.
like we all have a similar goal, and we want to offer excellent quality care. Um, for our clients, but also making sure that we ourselves are taking care of ourselves in the
Right.
process.
Right. Well, like, I mean, when you start a business, the numbers have to work.
Yep,
Otherwise,
yep,
it's very difficult to continue on for many, many years and to
yeah,
grow and things like that.
yeah.
Right.
And I think being innovative and asking for help, right? Like I don't know how to market. I don't have a marketing degree.
Right.
So we rely on, professionals to help us do those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Like I think relying on other people to help guide the ship is really important. But making sure that the people who are on the ship are all wanting to go to the same place.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, you get mutiny.
Yeah, mutiny or you don't go anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sounds like things are going really well for you and your business. I mean, a lot of healthcare professionals are making very good incomes when they actively work. The challenge is that when they're not consulting or actively working, there's no income coming in.
Mm.
So there's a bit of a challenge for healthcare professionals who want to keep their income level high, especially looking towards the future, as you get older and things like that. They don't want to have to be working as hard for that income. So some of them look at different ways to create profits and income outside of work. Things like maybe investing in stocks, mutual funds, bonds, crypto, or
Mhm.
using a financial planner. What are your thoughts on about that at ways of creating income outside of your normal work?
That's a great question, Gary, because as someone who is nearing retirement age, um, and just for the viewers who are listening to my voice, I don't look like I'm nearing retirement at all. Um, let I think that those are very important things, and I think that um, again, it's one of those things that, I wish I had taken a business course when I was in grad school. I wish that grad school had also incorporated um, planning for the future, like
Hmm.
retirement, because you're right. Our income is dependent on when I work, I get paid.
Yeah.
When the company is successful, like building those sorts of things, but there's a finite end to it, right? Like if
Yes.
when I'm not working, if I go home to Nova Scotia for the summer, I don't have an income. So I think that that goes back to that comment I made about who's helping you man the ship.
Yes.
And so your financial planners, the people that you have to support that is really important, right?
Yeah.
And I consider myself very lucky. I grew up in a household where my father was a financial planner,
Okay.
and so money was we talked about it. So I might not have wanted to have taken that course in grad school because I would have said I got this all from my father, um, but I still think it would have been very good. I'm very lucky. I've been married to the same gentleman for almost 30 years now, and he is also very good at that. And
Right.
so we always started saving, like all
Yeah.
like the stocks and the bonds. We don't do crypto. Um,
Okay.
but like the stocks and the bonds and the having the planners and doing that and making like that managing of a portfolio because neither one of us have a pension plan per se. Like
Right.
I didn't if I'd stayed working at a tertiary healthcare center, I would have had a pension plan, but I don't because
Yeah.
that's not where I've done most of my career. So I will be living off of what I've done. And so I think that foresight, um, surrounding yourself by the people who can help you make those really successful plans and sticking with it and knowing that that really expensive pair of shoes that I desperately wanted probably not as important as a TFSA deposit. So
Right. 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 Right on. Right on.
yeah.
So as we're wrapping up our interview, what kind of exciting plans do you have in the works in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I think the most exciting plan is actually just kind of happened in the last little while, and we're still looking forward to the growth on that. And that we partnered with a company called Circo, and they're the publisher, and we're the advisors for a magazine. And it's called the Family Psychology Magazine. And we have 4 issues a year, and we've put out 2. And each of the issues is about kind of like psychology kind of topics. So the
Hmm.
first one was very much about um, children and assessments and what does it mean to um, get an assessment. And the second one was about like workplace stress and burnout and how we as adults can how we have to manage that stress and find those things. Our next issue is about schools. So there's the idea of how do you choose what university you want to apply to, or what happens when you have test anxiety, or and we just have an amazing advisory board, as well as the people involved in it, our editor, Lori, really fabulous people who are we're all working together for this um, common purpose of delivering a high quality magazine with information that is super useful. So that is what I am probably most excited about.
Nice.
And then also just so excited about the team that we have here. We have a couple of people kind of coming back from maternity leaves, and
Hmm.
and I just I love that. I
Hmm.
love knowing that we have a strong team, and that this is a really nice place to work, and that I've been part of creating that. The family psychology place is a really nice place to work, and it's a really great place to come and get your assessments or your treatment, or, like, it's a good place all around. It's a good place. And those are the things that I'm excited about.
Right on. Dr. Cheryl Gilbert MacLeod, that wraps it up. Thank you so much for your time today. For sharing your insights and tips with us. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show. And if people want to get a hold of you, what should they do?
Well, our website, so www.familypsychologyplace.com, is best way of finding out all the services, the things that we do, the phone numbers to call us. That's the best way, without a
Okay,
doubt. And
excellent.
then
And you're also
I
on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn. Yep, I'm on LinkedIn, and we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And so we always have usually some pretty fun things. We do a really cool thing called Family Fridays, where we kind of do a little blurb where you get to see one of our staff clinicians, and meet them and find out what they're doing. And so it's kind of fun to follow us and see who's going to come up next on your feed.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so
So,
much.
but thank you so much for having me, Gary. This has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking about what we've done. So it's been fun.
Well, I mean, you guys have phenomenal growth, and I can see the joy that the work that you do, that comes out in what you're saying. So, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.